Hi, I'm Joe Negron, and I'll be narrating through David Whitehead's level for Team Emerald. And this is David's level, the warehouse. Uh, Now moving forward here, we're introduced with our objective to get to the munitions factory. Uh, you can see a nice serene lake over here. And through this first entrance, we're introduced to the first mechanic in David's level, the pressure plate, which is tied to the door there. And with proper audio-visual feedback, you'll know that that pressure plate will activate the door. Here we move into the second little facility here, the camera searchlight. If I trigger it, it shuts the door and the alarms go off, and you have to wait a couple seconds for the door to come back on. Moving across here to this next facility, you'll be introduced to the practice section of the pressure plates, where this first pressure plate activates the second pressure plate, which activates the door. And both need to have something on them, so you have to use the Gravenol to throw on some fodder in order to progress. Here we move into the practice section of the camera searchlight, where there's two, and we have to dodge them, because if not, the door gets shut, and we have to wait a bit in order for the doors to be open again. Here's the twist, where the pressure plate activates the door and opens it up over there, and if I run into any of these searchlights, I have to run back to the pressure plate in order to reset the door. So I'm going to try and do my best to dodge the searchlights as best as I can. I managed to do so. Awesome. So we're out through this transition area here, and you'll notice that there's a lake here and a town up ahead, just to add some depth and flavor into the world that is Team Emerald Scraps. And so we're gonna push forward here to this last facility, the mastery facility of these mechanics. There are camera searchlights here that we have to dodge through this path as well, so it makes it a bit more difficult. But if we get around all of the shelving and stuff, oh, I tripped this last one. We'll have to wait for the door to open. The door is opened, and now we're introduced to the mastery section of the pressure plates, where there are two pressure plates that have to be powered consecutively in order to progress. And just like that, the door is opened, and we're out into the back area leading to the munitions factory. Now, the munitions factory is my level. I'm Joe Negron, the designer of this level. And we're here at the introduction mechanic, the conveyor belt. Open and push this crate along to set it up for the player to advance the area. I should mention that the main objective for this level is to find an explosive in order to break open into the Cold Mountain Cryo facility in order to get the heart the Bastions require. So here we'll push open this vent. And we're introduced to the spark plug mechanic. We can't progress unless we match up the corresponding shapes to the correct spark plug. So if I plug in this triangle and the circle, it doesn't work. So I have to use the correct spark plugs in order to proceed. So here's the circle one here. I'm going to plug this in, and that powers up the elevator. And just like that, we can hit the elevator button and chill down to the main factory floor with some nice smooth jazz. After the elevator has made it down, we are now at the main factory portion and the practice area of mechanic. Now to try to activate the conveyor belt, it won't work. That's because the player has to set up the conveyor belt. So using the Gravenol, I have to set up the frame there and grab these two pieces of conveyor belt, like the belt loops, and I have to be able to wrap them around the frame and set them up to be used with the conveyor belt. Now, only once has only when the conveyor belt has been completed, the conveyor belt can push the crate forward in order for the player to climb up on the shelf here and gain means letting progress. So now we're here at the practice section of the spark plugs, where the player has to locate the spark plugs in amidst all this fodder. All of the items on the shelves here have rigid bodies and stuff, and so it makes it a bit more difficult to grab the exact item that you're wanting to grab, and you have to find it in the first place as well. So now I need to find the circle spark plug, which is just right here. And then slotting that in will open the door. You can see the badges up there are lit, and the door is opened, and we can proceed to this last final factory section. To the left, you'll see the explosive that the player needs, and now their new objective is to find a way to escape. If they walk up to this computer terminal here, they'll be given a hint at the bottom left of the console to know that the turret can be set up to escape. So in order to progress, obviously, just like the practice, they have to set up the conveyor belt. So here I'm going to grab the conveyor belt frames. The one dangerous thing about this is that I'm very high up, and if I fall, the player will die. So I've set up that portion, and now I'm going to set up the second portion of the conveyor belt frames here. Slotting that in, then grabbing the belt loop, putting it in. So now that the conveyor belt is complete, I can make my way back over to the conveyor belt controller and belt stopping, and now we can use this terminal to play this cutscene here and activate the rocket turret. Well, it seems like that rocket turret has given us an exit, but has destroyed some of the conveyor belt platforms, so we have to make our way back, this time jumping over some of the missing sections of conveyor belt. And making sure that I can get over there safely. Making it a bit difficult so there's no real backtracking. So after this we can escape, jump down to the level, now transitioning it over to Madison for his level.
Hey, this is Madison Mays, and I am a campus student. As we leave Johan's level, making our daring escape, we notice that we've jumped into a lake. Splashies. The player will notice that they're going to have to go around this section. So we're going to carefully navigate. The first thing we'll notice is a skull, and this recording actually has voice on it. But I'm not going to play it because there's 6 of them and it'll take up all of my time. So the first obstacle the player sees are some boulders chuck into the water. This is a big one. We're going to climb up this little bit. As we leave our descent, we hear the waterfall and notice its majestic beauty. As we turn right, we see our first glimpse of the entrance to the Cold Mountain Cryo facility. Move through into the facility approach. We see another recording. We take a right and we see some huge storage vats, which indicate some tubes. This one we're going to go into to break into the level. As we break in, we're going to enter into this bathroom. The light's still shining through. Here's some drips moving from that faucet, and this is one of the voice recordings that I'm going to share.
I'm hiding in this bathroom because I'm scared witless about this procedure. I know the surgeries have a 98% success rate, but I just can't stop shaking. I feel like something terrible is going to happen. Where are my pills?
So We come in here, we see the lighting change. This is the main lobby, and this is one of the mechanics we're going to introduce to, is basically just like destroying walls. We see that guy did not have a happy end. So using the plastic explosive that we got from the munitions factory, we're going to move up to the door and place it. We notice that it's armed. And also the flavor text indicates that we need to go to the pink rock and hide behind it. I'm going to grab this. This guy's chilling over here.
God damn, this is boring. I've been waiting here for 2 hours. I'm about to tweet my agent. His ass is gone. Talking about a new heart. I dropped $500,000 on this.
The door explodes, allowing access into the main facility. This fire mechanic will continue to expand. As you'll notice, it'll consume this bookcase over here. This is a buffer against backtracking. After 1 minute, this becomes an instant death zone. So you have to move in eventually before you get totally consumed and go to the checkpoint. But in case that happens, there's a narrow path that leads in. As we come into the security room, we'll notice the music has started. We'll see a laser beam reflecting a few times and diminishing in strength. We look to see what it is, and we see a huge block of ice, and everything is frigid and cold. And we see this turret having its laser beam refracted, and this is the introduced mechanic to the turrets. Right now they are off, but we can be sure that they might become activated. The player takes a look around and notices through this lighting and particle effects, you might want to head in this direction. There's another flavor text giving some history of this room. And here we move closer. We see that if we press E, we'll light up this wire, giving it more power, which probably is going to melt these icicles. And leads to the next mechanic, which is continuing to smash the walls. We go over here and see these are all the organs that are being stored. We go to the computer, and it tells us that the arm would move if it had power. So we look over here and notice the gas pumping out, that it's freezing everything. We go to the indicator mainframe. Notice that we press E to juice it up. The door closes and the entire facility lights up. We're now able to access this by pressing E, and it's going to bring us the heart. I'm going to quickly grab it, and then we see that the lasers in the turrets have become activated. Some tracers, we're going to avoid these, sort of another introduced practice mechanic. And we're going to be coming up to a twist. If you look, you can see that there's a bullet hole crack in that glass, and we notice that we've already destroyed this glass. So we're going to use the bullet to break the glass, and we're going to move into the surgery room. There's going to be some hearts beating, and every time you move forward, the heart beats a little faster. We notice some snow particles. I'll get this final piece of flavor.
This is Mickey Gibbons, janitor. How these auto docs manage to spray blood on the wall daily, I'll never know. I think they need an update, but what do I know? Now old Mickey has to stand on the bucket and scrub for 9 hours. Shine the docks, Mickey. Empty the medical waste, Mickey. Lower back is killing me. Glad I found these pills in the lobby earlier.
There's some blood Mickey did not clean up, and there's his medical waste. And now I'm gonna pass off. Thank you for listening.
Hi, my name is Ash Davis, and this is my level, Into Darkness. So, coming out of Madison's level, we have the cryo cold storage facility. Going into my level, we have where they took all the toxic waste that they've accumulated from Madison's cold storage. And we introduced my box stacking mechanic, where we have this fence right here that blocks progression. Following up, we have following this critical path, we have the second introduction, which is the slime toxic material. As you can see, whenever you collect it, it plays a little gas mechanic. Here's another collectible that has an audio source collected to it. You can see you can move through here. Off onto this side we have the city, just kind of add a little atmosphere and show that there was a world outside of all this level. Again, we can see more of that with the toxic skull coming out of the smoke, again to indicate damage. Moving into this room, we have a box sorter that was meant for the train. It would stack stuff on here. As you can see, we'll take this box again and we'll stack it on top of the crate to follow the collectible in the light, which should drag player's eye. We'll take a box and a barrel just to make this a little easier on ourselves. And right here we will shift to get into the first person and crouch just to get a better look under here. Grab this collectible and we'll shimmy into the train. Now in the train it should be dark, so we will turn the flashlight on. Navigating through the train, have all these debris to move through. Again, this is where they were transferring the different water, is what they claimed. We'll crouch under here. You can see the debris destroy the train. One last another collectible right there. We'll move this. Entering here, we have where the rest of the toxic barrels were stored. Jumping on this should give damage. They can either run through or avoid these toxic waste piles. Coming into the final twist between the box stacking and poison materials. This poison will actually do 30 damage to the player instead of the regular 10. See that here? Which will kill me. We stack boxes like this. Oh, that'll fall off. Once we get up here, we will leave my level and enter Ian Richardson's level. Ian's level is a continuation of a metro station. After we turn the power on, it should move the train forward. As you can see, the rails are electrified to let the player know that it helps the train move through and is another mechanic the player must work around. This is the switch mechanic. All of his mechanics are linked together, so you need to power the doors, as you can see right here, for his power cube mechanic. Once that turns on, the door will activate. The last cube, finish the practice mechanic for the power cubes. Avoid the electrified power elements again. Here we have the power switch with the code right there on the above the door. I'll have to crouch to get through here. Now through here we have another collectible and the mystery for the twist between the power cubes and the switches. After the power cubes are in place, we need to turn the power switches on to move the tube forward, just like that. We'll grab this last power cube to slot it in right there, and we'll shoot that across, and after we jump across, about to make that, turn the switches on. 1 and 2. The door should open. We collect our money for a job well done. The final door, and you can see the train. We finally leave the bastion, and that is the end. Thank you for watching.